Namaskar, good afternoon, and greetings to all. Myself Santosh Kumar Yadav, and I am joined with my colleague Mahendra Singh. Thank you very much, Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, for arranging this advanced GMP workshop and giving us an opportunity to speak on this topic, cleaning methodology and validation. Though we are representing this best practice document, however, it is an outcome of great efforts taken by key pharmaceutical company associates who were involved in brainstorming, collaborating, and writing this best practice document. The team involved Mr. Navnath Pawar from Sun Pharma, Mr. Krishna Mohan from DRL, Ms. Gargi Sharma from Lupin, Ms. Tripti Gandhi from Torrent, Mr. Sanjay Gare and Mr. Nilesh Shebu from Cipla, and Mr. S.B. Gopalakrishnan from Zydus Cadila. And not the least, we would like to mention special mention of Mr. Sirish Verapure, who from IPA, who facilitated this initiative and took it to the final stage where we are. Now, with due respect to all the seniors and delegates attending this session, we would like to start the session. Cleaning validation has been the most evolving and debated topic in the past couple of years, and this topic has been in limelight in different pharmaceutical industry with respect to the FDA citations. A lot of work has been done altogether, and several best practices followed across the industry has been collated and put into this best practices document. We feel privileged and proud to know that the best practice document is now ready, and the book copy of which was shown by the Drug Controller General of India, Mr. V.G. Somani, on the very first day of this workshop. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. As you are aware, there are several guidances available on the cleaning validation from various regulatory agencies, and all the leading pharmaceutical companies are meeting the expectations. This IPA best practice document provides an hands-on experience, hands-on approach to support the pharmaceutical industry, and it is not intended to interpret or replace the GMP guidances provided by any regulatory agency. Next slide, please. Yeah, as we are aware, there are several guidances available on cleaning validation. The team worked on this best practices document while reviewing the having a gathering meeting on this topic. It was noted that there are different approaches adopted by different companies, which we shall discuss in the subsequent slides. And it was noted that more than one approach was seen across the industry, but all were found logical and acceptable. Below are some potential areas of improvement which were identified during these meetings, which included multiple approaches for worst case selections, the traditional approach towards the life cycle approach, and logical grouping of product and equipment matrix for identifying worst case, risk-based approach for developing cleaning procedures, and also identifying the hard to clean locations, bracketing of equipment with respect to the size group for developing cleaning procedures, handling of potent molecules in the shared facility, handling of failures, qualifications of operators, inspectors and samplers, management of data using software-based application, and statistical evaluation of cleaning verification and validation. Some of the key aspects we shall discuss in the subsequent slides. Next slide, please. Now, this slide presents the comparison of different companies across the columns with respect to different approaches followed. The approach included worst case selection, the MACO with respect to API and the cleaning agent, the grouping approach. For instance, we can see that in worst case selection, some companies are following the solubility approach, that is least solubility. Some companies are following the cleanability approach, and we can also see that there are other companies which are following the risk-based approach, wherein risk priority number is calculated based on different factors of API solubility, potency, and toxicity. Similarly, for Mako in API, we can see that the companies are following the PDE approach, and some companies are following a more stringent of dose criteria, 10 ppm criteria, PDE criteria. And with respect to Mako Clinic, again, the comparison is showing that there are variations, and it is with respect to PD and LD50s. And for the grouping approach, again, for product and equipment grouping, it is varying from company to company. Next slide, please. So now this slide, again, looking into more parameters, the bracketing approach on the equipment size group, especially on the bracketing of equipment groups. When we want to make a group, what size we can take into consideration to group equipment for which we can have a single cleaning procedure. So this was also taken into account. The statistical evaluation of cleaning, verification and validation. Few companies had this and others are still making. So coming to the last one was on management of data using software. So still few companies had the management of database through software. Slide please. This slide shows the shift of the traditional approach to the life cycle approach. As we know, the FDA guidance of 2011, similar approach for cleaning validation has been adopted, and it is in practice. We are using three phases. The phase 1 has the cleaning process design. The phase 2 has cleaning process qualification. The phase 3 is the continued cleaning verification for ongoing monitoring. And very important note here is during each of these phases, the knowledge gained at each phase of the cleaning validation, it can serve as the feedback or feed forward mechanism for the life cycle approach in the management of cleaning process. Slide please. Yeah, now this slide we are talking about the multiple approaches of worst case selection. So one of the acceptable approach is worst case based on the cleanability, wherein we can do a formulation assessment, the scientific formulation assessment, wherein we can consider the solubility criteria for API as well as excipient in the entire product composition, and the insoluble load on that equipment in terms of kilogram will be converted, and similar matrix for all the products. Once it is made, you can derive to a worst case product having the product which is having the highest total insoluble mass on that equipment becomes the worst case product. Next slide please. Now the second approach, which is before I go to next approach, in approach 1 under cleanability, there is also a coupon study available wherein you can perform in the laboratory using different coupons with a known product concentration of different product, and you can see how long a particular after cleaning, how long the product takes, the cleaning of the product takes. Based on that, cleanability assessment can be done using the coupon study. The product which is taking the largest time becomes the worst on the coupons which are prepared for different products. Now talking about the approach 2, which is on the risk prioritization. So risk prioritization, we can see that it considers different factors which are later rated and to obtain a risk priority number. The factors included here are lowest therapeutic dose, that is SRDD, then the PD or AD, which is the lowest PD will be taken into account, solubility of water or cleaning solvent, and the cleanability approach based on the operator production feedback. And you can see the first column below table has risk factor which can be applied to obtain a risk priority number, and the product which is coming as the having highest risk priority number becomes the worst case as per this approach. Yeah, next slide please. Yeah. So on several aspects, the clarity of concepts and technicalities has been included in the best practice document to facilitate the understanding to the end users. In doing so, one of the key important section is how to develop and write cleaning procedures using quality risk assessment tool. So this section will explain, we are going to explain one example So in doing so, the quality risk assessment tool, the key components of a tool should include, risk assessment should include the tool selection, identification of the cross-functional team who will participate in execution of this risk assessment, equipment description, equipment operation and cleaning process, whether it is manual cleaning or automatic cleaning, then major components and subparts for contact and non-contact parts, schematic diagram of the equipment, identification of potential failure modes for contamination or cross-contamination, areas difficult to visually inspect without dismantling, identification of powder adherence probabilities on high risk indirect product contact surfaces, which includes duct, drains, lower plenum, etc. Next slide, please. So continuing, component-wise risk assessment should be done to identify potential failure modes. So we have to break, based on the dismantleability, we should break the different components of an equipment and do a potential failure mode for each of those components. Risk management preparedness should include a thorough Gemba walk to understand the assembling and disassembling or dismantling of the equipment in view of the cleaning and the probability of deposition of the product residues, and the interview with shop floor people to understand the existing cleaning process and to identify the process with respect to enhancement actions. Historical review, doing a historical review for OS and deviations, particularly for cleaning validation and line clearance failures. So this will help in understanding what are the areas of focus, and also for doing a probability of occurrence rating, we can review a retrospective review of QMS events can be done. Right, please. Now this slide shows a snapshot of FMEA template which can be applied for doing a risk assessment. The elements can include equipment components, subparts, the product non-contact, contact parts, failure modes, and then rating to arrive at RPN. And the last column has a risk mitigation plan against the action plan. So overall, after the risk assessment is complete, the expected outcome is the conclusion and final recommendation, which can include precise instructions for dismantling and cleaning of subparts for a given equipment, defining types of cleaning aids which will be required for cleaning of different equipment parts, scrubbers, brushes, scrapers, etc. Defining aids to examine visual cleanliness checks for components and parts equipment using illuminated torchlight or GoPro camera in the indirect contacts like confined areas like ducts. Exploring engineering solutions for cleaning of large surfaces or ducts. So this has been in the recent past, we have several observations of ducts. So going forward, looking for an engineering solution can be a WIP solution, WIP system, which is wash in place system, or a CIP system, which can be used as a WIP skid connected from water source, and then we can have the sequence of cleaning operations. Let's say, for example, of FBD, we can have it for exhaust duct cleaning sequence, then the inlet duct, and then the body part of the FBD. So that can be a recipe-based, engineering solution which can clean the duct which is not reachable by manual mode. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this slide we will discuss and share one example of an FBD checklist. Before that, I will just summarize the key features of this checklist. Is like it will have a proper chronology of sequence of cleaning steps, which includes initial dry cleaning and dismantling, then pre-wash or initial wash with the process water, and then scrubbing of different equipment parts which needs to be scrubbed for proper cleaning, then washing of equipment parts and indirect contacts including ducts, initial inspection to observe that cleaning has happened, and then finally putting a purified water rinse followed by drying, and final inspection of the equipment which will be done in the dismantled form, so that you are able to see all the parts of the equipment whether it is clean and certified. So the checklist which is designed has a human error reduction format, which we will see and understand, which has important element of important instructions being highlighted in bold, italics, and critical process parameters are annotated with special symbol, which is like attention activators or attention indicators. Then pictorial diagram of individual parts to understand and correlate what is that in the checklist. And with that, we have a display of key components in the checklist and cleaning aids. So can I request to open the checklist? This is the embedded file. If you can open it for, and then I will be requesting for scrolling it down just to have a view of this checklist. Yeah, can we open the checklist which is embedded as file? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So we'll move ahead and probably we'll try to see this towards the end of this session. So yeah. So this slide talks about grouping and bracketing approach. The industry-wide approach followed at the leading companies has been brought into one place. The product grouping has important two sections wherein we can do logical grouping of products using different facilities, product mix, or dosage forms. And like dosage forms, you can say the oral solids, you have general category products can be made as one group. The potent category can be another group. Then other dosages like aerosols, nasals can be a different group. Okay, like animal products can be of different group. So that way dosage form can be made, or if you want to group as product facility, if you have multiple facilities, you can have block wise or facility wise product grouping done. The second option in the guidance given is of surrogate product. So surrogate worst case product, I would like some time to focus on this. This has been mentioned in PDA TR 29 as well, the guidance. Surrogate worst case product is a specially formulated product which may not be a commercial product, but it becomes a, we are creating this product, so it becomes a worst case product in all the aspects which are than the routine manufactured products. From all the routine manufactured products, this becomes the worst case. And the salient features can be in this. The ingredients which are used should be easily available and at low cost. The properties of this, since it is becoming a worst case, so properties of solubility properties of this product, the ingredient should be insoluble in nature. Product composition should include polymers which are difficult to remove and also susceptible to microbial growth. And then formulation can be wet granulation, having a low limit of detection using PLC method or something which can be a faster detection and low disposal cost. The rationale behind this approach is we can maintain the continuity of worst case product, because it has been seen that in many times we find it difficult that what we have identified as worst case product is a low volume product and it is not frequently manufactured due to its low volume requirement or poor market visibility. So in all those cases, this surrogate product can serve as a purpose which is more worse than any other product. And then another rationale to have this is to minimize a situation in which new worst cases products are added. So it can also take care of new product which is getting introduced, and if it is not worse than the surrogate product, then I have the validation still valid, and you can only do the verifications for introduction of this and then can continue. The only disadvantage can be that product manufacturing cost. You have to develop the product and method with respect to its manufacturing and the disposal cost. So next is the, okay, please be on the previous slide. Yeah. Second is on the equipment grouping. So on the equipment grouping, the guidance has provided clarity on grouping of equipment with respect to its complexity and size of the equipment. The equipment size, we discussed that 5:1, not more than 5:1 can be grouped as a logical grouping for developing a cleaning procedures. Then also, if whatever is not falling under the worst case, you know, assessment, those equipment or equipment group needs a confirmatory run. That is, we need to perform cleaning verification run on those equipment to say that it is evaluated or assessed. In large equipment surface areas, the worst case validation should be performed. And as a common approach, industry-wide, it is combining product and group equipment grouping is done, which is followed, and rationalized worst case products are taken for evaluation. Next slide, please. This slide explains about the potent molecules handling in shared facility. So we know that potent molecules ideally should be prepared or manufactured in a dedicated facility, but wherein it is shared facilities are used, we need to take care, special consideration should be given with respect to the personal protective equipment for operators, and also a special cleaning, additional cleaning of the equipment. There are generally two approaches followed in the industry, wherein after manufacturing of potent molecule or potent product, a placebo batch is run between the two cleaning processes, and subsequent it is available for the subsequent manufacturing. The second approach is to do a 2 times cleaning, wherein you will do exactly the same cleaning second time. While doing the validation, we need to establish that after first cleaning also it is good enough to go, while the protocol or acceptance criteria will be always after the second cleaning. During the validation, we need to establish by taking swabs after the first cleaning and also after the second cleaning, and the results should be compared. Both the results should meet the MACO requirement. In special cases where potent molecules are manufactured, it needs or it is recommended, strongly recommended, that we need to do a routine monitoring of these products. So once the validation is established, what we can do is we can do a routine monitoring on reduced sampling. That is, if I say, for example, if I take the sample size on an equipment is say number 10 swab locations, in routine monitoring it can be reduced to 1 or 2 based on the worst of worst location results. The data which has been generated for validation should be considered for review. Whatever worst location data is available, those should be taken for routine monitoring. Now, this is important with respect to the qualification of cleaning operators, inspectors, and samplers. The guidance includes the requirement prerequisite on how to qualify an operator, cleaning operator, who has some prerequisites to complete, like eyesight checkup, the basic trainings of the cleaning procedures, and then the certification, independent certification of 3 cleaning cycle runs by supervisor and the quality assurance certifying it. For visual inspectors qualifications, there are factors and tools given, which is important with respect to qualify, of course after training, but they have to be qualified how they are doing the surface inspection. The factors or tools should consider distance of viewing, angle of viewing, lighting type, and the tools which are used for visual inspections, torch, GoPro camera, etc. And also it needs to evaluate the critical surfaces, that is hard to clean surfaces, while doing the inspection. The sampler qualification, which is a swab sampler qualification, the person should be again qualified using the coupon study in laboratory for a known concentration 3 times, so that the person is meeting the criteria that has been guided in the best practice document. Right. Now this slide talks about managing the cleaning validation database using software applications. So the software which will be used, which should be qualified and validated, and generally it is very helpful for a large manufacturing sites which has large number of products and equipments. So some key benefits of software is the data management becomes very easy with respect to product and data, equipment data. It goes for paperless protocol and report preparation. Online study execution is possible, like online punching of sampling and reporting. All the change assessment, like addition, deletion of equipment, new equipment, new product, or impact on existing worst case, impact on existing macro, all gets evaluated through the software automatically. And ease of data retrieval, online tracking of the periodic cleaning verifications, the data trending is possible, and at the end it is 21 CFR compliant, the data reliability. Next slide, please. Yeah, on statistical evaluation of cleaning verification and validation, this is important with respect to the phase 3, what we discussed, phase 3 of the cleaning validation life cycle, that is ongoing verification, continued cleaning verification. So these alert and action levels may be derived based on the data available for number of products on a cleaning cleaning procedure or for cleaning equipment. So it helps in understanding the general trend what we are against the macro value, so that we always have the scope to review the drifts observed in the residue results, and it can give a capability evaluation, and it helps to understand whether the effectiveness of manual cleaning, cleaning procedure, test methods, cleaning aids, and upkeep of equipment, especially wear and tear of the equipment, also gets evaluated at this point. It can always help and trigger an investigation or revalidation case specific. So that helps in if it is possible, you can show the cleaning checklist which I was asking for the embedded file. Okay. So with this, I will conclude my presentation. Thank you for patience listening.
Thank you, Santosh, and for a very nice presentation. I was the part of this group, so I am aware what has gone into the details which we have gone into. There are some questions. First question is from Jagdish Jain of Sun Pharma. He's asking, what is the meaning of surrogate worst case? Can you explain?
So if I have heard it correct, what is the minimum criteria for a surrogate product?
The meaning of surrogate worst case. You mentioned presentation, right?
Sorry, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, little.
Sir, can you be a bit louder?
Surrogate worst case. What is the meaning of surrogate worst case?
Yeah, sir, I will add to it. Yeah. So surrogate worst case product is an artificially constructed product. It is not the routine manufactured product. But what we are saying is surrogate worst case product can be developed by a site, by an organization, which can serve as worst of worst product across the worst of worst from the products group which is manufactured at a facility, and then that gets evaluated with respect to the cleaning validation. It is a worst of worst product created which is not routinely manufactured. So in those cases, we need to manufacture that product. Then method needs to be developed as per that requirement, and then we do a validation. So it will serve as single product across the facility for worst case evaluation.
Thank you. Second question is from Kishore Shah of Sun Pharma. Ongoing cleaning validation, verification. How one can ensure cleaning by just taking a small amount of sample?
Yeah, so on verification, there are multiple factors here. I explained about one of the periodic verification, but yes, first thing is the visual cleanliness is mandatory, and in every batch we do that visual certification of equipment cleanliness. Second is we should do periodic cleaning verifications, which includes maybe annual assessment of cleaning the equipment for worst cases. And third is like periodic monitoring, wherein we are saying that we have to review the changes, the deviations, the equipment wear and tear with respect to the with respect to the cleaning of equipment, and data trending, which is part of whatever data has been generated for an equipment with respect to the swab results. All those data for a particular equipment which is used using a single cleaning, cleaned using a single cleaning procedure, those can be populated to have trending evaluation done. So all these factors can be considered for routine periodic monitoring.
Thank you, Santosh. Last question. Now the newer and impurities are coming. So do you expect that like nitrosamines and other things, the estimation of those impurities during the changeovers will be requirement over the period?
Yeah, it's a very good question, but yes, impurity, as we know that nitrosamine or genotoxic impurities, these are things which are still in the pipeline, but initially we need to do a complete risk assessment wherein we need to rule out the process and equipment which we are manufacturing the products. Those products should be free, or else if we are having those indicators that there can be a nitrosamine generating product, ideally those products should be made into a dedicated facility so that we don't have any question on impurities.
However, as of now, nobody is actually, I think.
Yeah, in formulations, as to be precise, as such, we are not having any, so far action plan to have nitrosamine impurity being checked, because we need to have that method and further assessment. As such, the product is evaluated at different stages, including stability. But yeah, with respect to cleaning validation, it is
As of now.
yeah, correct. It is yet to be established. Recommendation is it can go for a dedicated facility if it is really area of concern.
Thank you, Santosh and Mahendra. Thank you very much.